Okay, we're gonna sync, and I apologize in advance for all of the whoosh sounds. They're mowing the lawn outside! Yay! So lots of sound. Anyway, I need to sync this video so that you can see the slightly marginally better video quality, but it does allow me to pop out of the green screen a little better. And I have to have some fun too. Okay. But anyway, I'm gonna start recording today. We are gonna talk about personality assessment. Okay, so we're gonna record. So this is the unit on personality assessment. It builds directly on all the stuff we talked about with data quality, reliability, but there are actual specific tests that we can use, and so I'm going to talk about those. Okay, now I've learned that I need to double click the first slide for it to advance. Here is my attempt at illustrating the implicit association test. The basic idea is you categorize the item. So them, and you kind of indicate on a keyboard, usually the buttons are like A and D, and so you're sorting, you're categorizing. So them falls into the other category. So you would press the D button on your keyboard, be like other. And so you do this with multiple things simultaneously. So the first one is them. So you're sorting me versus other, and then some trait or behavior. And so inhibited, does that fall under shy or not shy? And so you put it under shy, I think. Now, here's where the important actual measurement aspects are, is you have these categories where the idea is that if you have a stronger implicit, subconscious almost association, it'll be easier for you to classify things that are congruent, so things that are consistent. So if you think you're a shy person, you'll be faster and more accurate with categorizing things that are on the me versus shy side. And you'll be less, as well as the others not shy. So if you think you're shy, you'll fall into this bucket, and it'll be easier. You'll still make mistakes because these are really fast, and the goal is to measure your reaction time and accuracy. Now, you'll make more mistakes, at least that's the logic, when the two things on each, in the two category bins that you're sorting, if they're inconsistent. So if you still view yourself as someone who is shy, and now you have to put things in the me category and the not shy on the same side, you're going to make more mistakes. Because your brain has can't be me shy is one unit that's positively linked together. So if you view yourself as super shy, now with outgoing, you'll be okay, me, not outgoing. So your instinct is to put it in the other group, because you're not in the other group, you're in the me group. But you're supposed to put it in with the me/not shy group, because they're together. That's the idea. And I worked in undergrad. My first psychology lab experience was in a self lab, looking at self-esteem and kind of it was a cool measurement statsy lab, interested in longitudinal design and cool measurement, but we applied it to self-esteem. You would think I would know more about the self at this point. You'll get to, we have a self unit, but, so I remember I did some projects with this and coded IATs and whatnot. So, I've already kind of explained the theory. I'm going to reiterate it here in kind of a more clear, coherent sense, and it's nicely written out. So the theory is people who implicitly or non-consciously know they have a certain trait, so the shy people in the me group, will respond faster when the trait is paired with me. So alternative versions instead of me and other, which we see a lot in self labs, in social labs that aren't really interested, they're more interested in like behavior that is common to most people. Often instead of me and other, they put in good or bad. And so these measures are like they're kind of a behavioral measure, and they don't always align with self-report, and like the implicit measure is not universally better. So self-report measures can sometimes often predict consciously controlled behaviors better. So when you aren't just like gut reaction time or like spontaneous, like a self-report or peer report measure that's not like trying to infer your implicit like non-conscious inner you, usually self-report's better if it's like takes some time. But if you don't have time, so like you're reacting, people who have a like, so with the implicit measures, like those that are more biased, like if there's a discrepancy, anything that's like spontaneous behavior. So if you have to make a snap judgment or evaluate if someone is dangerous, people who have, so you can use these to measure racial bias, sexism, any ism, ableism, homophobia, which is homophobism. You would think I would know. Not know the homo, like that it, yeah, no, it's not homobism. Sorry, I'm getting, yeah. Anyway, let's just keep moving along before I get like just caught in a loop of my brain short-circuiting that I don't know enough about. Like, so like super queer. I know about it. So like my brain just broke. Okay, but the idea is that these implicit measures come into play, and the behaviors and the kind of implicit stuff they're measuring come into play with snap judgments and reaction times. And so, like, if you have stronger levels of implicit bias towards another group, you are more likely to, like, have your spontaneous behaviors negatively affect that group. So you're more likely to, obviously with current events, we see this with police officers. They are more likely to have those that are involved in shootings, like George Floyd wasn't a shooting, but like, who tend to overreact or treat like African American men as a threat because they are African American, tend to have have more implicit bias. Yeah, there's, so depressing. They're people. Oh my god, why does humanity suck? Okay, anyway. Yeah. So this implicit bias measure is important. There's debate on like if it like what it is exactly measuring, but it seems to be predictive of like spontaneous behaviors in ways that, so like with like racism, most people don't say, yeah, I'm super duper racist implicitly. And like you don't have to be like this horrible bad person. But I'm going to move to the next slide, and then I'll keep doing some anecdotes about me, because I hope they're helpful. Okay, cool. So, online versions of, I have a little mod here. Online versions of the IAT that I will hopefully remember to link in the module are Project Implicit at Harvard, which I think they're kind of the early people that championed this. Also, like, Understanding and Prejudice, like the website, which is kind of built on this. Now, this measure, like, the examples I have are for racism, for the most part, for racial prejudice, but online, so, like, you can use this for sexism. Now, as someone who is very pro, like female empowerment, and, like, I do the whole stereotype thing, threat thing, to, like, help women in, like, remember that they're, like, all good at math, or they're not implicitly bad at math. Like, just because on, like, every explicit measure, I'm super, like, not sexist. I'm pro-women and sexism, not the same thing, I know. But, I actively try and do all this, and yet, I still have a gender bias, against women, slightly, because of, like, when I take these tests. And so, even though, like, and I have some good theories, I've talked with the people who do this stuff, because I was like, I'm horrified. But I, like, and a lot of it is, like, just your implicit like, it's not a, like, it's your instinctive reaction. And so kind of this stuff happens in your childhood, which is a very Freudian thing. I mean, that's their kind of, like, informal explanation. And as someone who was raised in a, like, my grandparents are fairly conservative, and like, my Eastern European family, like, my grandma her mission was to, like, get all her granddaughters, because there's so many of us, to, like, have great husbands who are all doctors, so that we could stay at home, because that was, like, that was, like, the ultimate American dream for her, because she's come around a long way, which is fantastic. She, like, once I got this job at Wake, she was like, oh, instead of marrying a doctor, you became a doctor. I think it helped to, like, for her to, like, have that, like, oh, she's not just in school doing whatever it is she does. It's like, oh, she's a professor now. Ooh, that's way better than her just finding a husband. So my grandma has come a long, fantastic way. But, like, those implicit things are in there. I haven't had my grandma take one. But and I think it would be, well, and I can't go now because, like, I don't want her to, like, get exposed to me, because, like, I'm gonna be a minor disease vector. But that's the idea. And so, like, it's not like you're inherently a bad person if you have these implicit biases, but they're great to be aware of, so that if you are in a situation where you have to, like, you make a snap judgment, you can be like, hey, why did I make that judgment? It's a nice reminder to pause. So you can counteract that, like, implicit, like, thing. It doesn't have to control you. Okay. So next time, we're going to talk about projective tests. And, as you can likely hear, my laundry alarm is going off, which is kind of a nice and convenient thing, at this pause. Now, you won't see it, but I'm going to keep the camera running so I don't have to resync. Yay! Okay, so I will see you in the next video. And scene.